Welcome to JC Connect. In the yesterday's class, we were discussing about the different types of bills, and we have discussed how normally the running account bills and the final bills are made, and what will be the standard protocol for uh, making the bills. I already said that the hierarchy will be from you have to verify the work at the site itself and take the measurements in the actual site. Then it has to be verified by the third party inspectors. Then after that, once it is verified, then the confidential report has to be sent from the third party inspectors to the um, higher authorities, maybe gazetted level. Then they will verify it whether the quantity is as per the estimated cost, quality is as per the grade mentioned in the estimated cost, and whether it is matching with the measurement book what the section officer has taken. So with all that reports, he will verify and he will take the decision whether the bills can be sanctioned to the contractor or not, or whether the partial amount can be released. Still, if he has not satisfied how much he is going to satisfy, that much he is going to release it. So this time protocol normally will be followed, followed during the sanctioning of the bills by the higher authorities. So we have discussed the first and final bills, and we were discussing about the running account bills, that is form A. The form A bill can be given to the contractors without even completion of even partial completion of the work also. So then we will start with the running account bills, that is form C. This form is used for contracts both for work executed on piecework system and for the suppliers received. Here um, in the form C, it is totally different from the form A. Form A is like advance payment. Form C is for even A stands for, that is advance, C stands for completion. That if A is form A is advance, the form C stands for, that is completion. So this form, of course, it is used for either the full completion of the work, or it is used for the piece of work system. Of course, it has to be the form C type of bills can be made to the contractors who is going to make who is going to execute the work, as well as the suppliers of the materials also. In both the things they can do it. Normally, if the contractor itself is a supplier for the work, or he is himself is a supplier as well as the executing person, then the both form C can be bills can be paid to the same person. Then there will not be like execution as well as the suppliers system. This form is widely used especially for medium size of works executed through K2 contract or a split of works or project entrusted on nomination to the number of contractors. Normally, K2 contract means is not like mm, neither he is uh, less than it will be around K2 contract means roughly it will be around 50 to 1 crores if work is there. It will fall on that K2 type of contract work. Uh, Even if it is lesser, normally in that normally with a single payment like what they will use the form C. Even smaller contractors, nobody will give uh, the bills in the form A, because there will not be any security for those peoples. If it is less than 10 lakhs or 5 lakhs, anybody is doing the contracting. If it is 1 crore, if the company is big like L&T and all those things, in that cases, Shobha developers, that kind of companies, they will provide this all kind of form A as well as form C. Of course, this can be used it for your split of works as well as or full completion of the works also it can be used. Lump sum contract bill. So in this lump sum contract methods, a number of intermediate payments are made in lump sum contract running account bill for final before final payment is made. So in this lump sum means um, they are going to um, carry out the number of works into a number of parts, like one part you have to complete this and this much it will be paid. If you say, if you take an example of um, the road which you are placing, you divide that full road construction into 3 or 4 phases. The first phase you can call it as um, laying the laterite soil and compacting, that is the first stage. Then second stage, add the WBM, wet base macadam, that is one type of work. Then compacting. Then after that you add one layer of asphalting, that is one type of work, and final layer of asphalting work. So if you consider this overall work into 4 stages, then you divide whole bill into 4 types. Then for each type of the bill, um, that much portion of amount should be paid to the contractor. That much lump sum amount has to be paid to the contractors. It is nothing but the lump sum contract bill. Of course, if you are paying in partial, we can call that as a running account bill, because running account bill means it is not yet completed, the work is not completed, still it is going on. Intermediate payment is made for value of measure of items of work executed forming a part of contract. Then value of authorized extra work done on account of addition or modification the work executed supported by details in either case. The first one, this kind of payment is made once it is based on the measurement books. I already said that it is based on the measurement book. I already said that suppose if in the if in the estimated cost if it is quantity is more in the measurement book, if it is less, then according to that the measurement book they will provide it, they will give the amount based on the measurement book. In vice versa, if it is if extra work you have done other than the estimated cost, then the payment will be based on the estimated cost only. Suppose one more provision is there. Suppose if the quality of work is not possible due to some of the undulations or some of the fluctuations in some of the seasons, maybe what will happen is that maybe the sudden um, flood comes, unexpected flood comes during some of the summer seasons. Of course, summer seasons you won't get any flood, but sometimes a flood is coming or uncertainties are coming. In that cases, there will not be any fault from any of the contractors. In that time, what will happen is that suppose if the contractor is doing less also, then the corrections has to be made in the estimated cost. Then it has to be the approval has to be taken from the higher authorities, saying that some of the uncertainties are there, I am reducing the quantity. Then that has to be done. In the second way, if in the estimated cost, assume that 100 meter cube of excavation is only required, earthwork excavation is required due to the flood. Suppose if you want to add another 100 meter cube of or if you want to excavate some more quantity of like 200 meter cube of earthwork, if you have to excavate due to some floods or some any other uncertainties, in that cases again, because you will be paid according to the estimated cost only. But again the approval has to be taken, um, saying that I am adding again 100 meter cube of earthwork excavation. Then the payment has to be made for total 200 meter cube of the work. So that itself is the second point. So that is, they have mentioned it as authorized extra work done. Means authorized means the approval has to be taken for the extra work what you are doing, and whatever the extra work you are doing it on the site has to be entered into the measurement book by the section officer first. Then the same will be verified by the third party inspector. So if both the peoples are saying yes, then of course the higher authorities or the district collector, he is going to um, approve the bills. So these kind of things will happens in some of the uncertainties situations. um, of course it is very less the second point. Again it takes a long time, but nobody will do that. Still that provision they will make it. So next, in the final lump sum bill, the full payment is made as entered in the contract, as entered in the estimated cost for the contract is paid, adding the amount of authorized extras. That is why they will use the word called authorized extras. Means that all the whatever the extra things you are adding in the site, that has to be taken approval for uh, the execution of the bills. Otherwise nobody will sanction the bills, and it has to be verified by the section officer as well as the third party inspector. And deducting the authorized omission and the intermediate payments already made. Once the final bill is always made by deducting the running bills as well as the intermediate bills you have made during the execution of the work. And remember that when you are discussing about the security deposits, all these security deposits will not be paid to the contractors. I already said 5 to 10% of the security deposit will be kept for the further maintenance. So that much they will deduct it, and the final bills will be released. Remember that during the final billing payment systems, um, they will they will deduct uh, this security deposit, then they will make the payment. That has to be mentioned here. By deducting the security deposit, they are going to make the final payment. So hand receipt. So hand receipt is a simple form of a voucher intended to be used for small miscellaneous payments and advances for which none of the above form is suitable. The purpose of the payment and the designation of the officer making the payment, duly supported by the measurement book entry, should be furnished on the hand receipt. No agreement is necessary for the payment made through a hand receipt form. So, of course, this is very important steps. Normally, this can be used to make the work in a simple way, or let it go in a smoother way. So in that cases, the hand receipt, or normally we already discussed, that is a voucher. Voucher is, of course, the word they will use it if it is more than 10 lakhs or the 20 lakhs. Hand receipt is normally used if you are doing it the payment in uh, part by part basis, or partial completion of the work if you are doing it. That cases normally it is used for small miscellaneous works or the small miscellaneous payments. Of course, for this that much agreement is also not required. That is why we can call it as hand receipts. But a carbon copy of the hand receipt should be maintained in the offices, because when you are doing the hand receipts, there is no such agreements. It will be the, at least only the final document is that uh, mm, the carbon copy. Of course, the nowadays it may not be any problem, because every all whatever the partial payment, or it is a partial lump sum payment, if it is there, um, that can be made through the direct account. It will be credited to the beneficiaries. Then if you take that list, of course you will come to know the digital type of vouchers it will be ready. But still, in some of the cases, if it is not possible, if the bank sector is not working, in that cases normally they will go for the hand receipts. Or if any if he want immediate, whether it is because the person who is there, the contractor is there, um, if he is if he don't have any internet banking, or if he is unable to go to the bank, whether he can see that the account is credited or not. If any mobile banking is not there with him, whatever the amount credit is, if it is not coming as a SMS, then normally on hand receipt will be issued to the contractor saying that we have made the payment. Then we don't have any problem from this site. So the purpose of the payment and the designation officer making the payment duly supported by the measurement book only. Of course, this has to be done by taking in all considerations uh, by the measurement book. The measurement book, of course, it has to be maintained by the section officer, and he has to uh, tell to the higher authorities, or he has to submit that measurement book to the higher authorities saying that he has completed it. Then the hand receipt will be made, the payment will be made. So then of course these are some of the types of payment. That is the bills, what kind of bills. And of course, when you are, this is very important, when you are doing the hand receipts, suppose if no such options are available, like form A, form C, if you are not entering all the details into form A and form C, then normally this kind of hand receipts will be used for some of the small cases. That has to be remembered. So then now we'll come to the type of payments. The payment to the contractors are made in variety of, that is the bills what you are doing it previous. Of course, the payments and the bills are same, but still um, uh, that's the bill preparation of the bills on the papers, but this is the payment means actual amount if which is reaching to the contractors. First and final payment, like first and final bill, running or intermediate account of payment, final payment, advance payment, secured advance payment. So for similar, once the bills is prepared, the same it will be transferred to the final end. Once the first and final bill is prepared, and then the first and final payment will be made. This is how you can understand it in this way. Once the first and final bill is made, uh, the first and final payment will be made to the contractors. So first and final payment. The term indicates a single payment made for a job or a contractor on its completion. So in this case, the payment finished by one payment after the completion of the work. This is usually applicable for the small work. So means it is like this: if 5 lakhs works is there, only the asphalting is there for about 1 kilometer length of asphalting if you are doing it for the road. So and the small amount is 5 lakhs. Then you do it at a first stage only, complete, because even if you want to complete that asphalting, you can do it by within 3 or 4 days if you are spending it for completely. Then there is no such provision like what in all 3 4 days if you are completing the work, there is no need to go for the uh, partial payments, uh, or one day this much partial, second day it may not be correct, and for each payments uh, they have to take the approvals. It is not so easy. The section officer has to come verify it, he has to submit it, as well as the third party inspector has to come, he has to come and he has to inspect it, and he has to submit the report. How much will do all these things in 4 days? So this can be done uh, as a first and final payment for the contractors on the completion of the small works. Running or intermediate on account payment. This means the payment made on running account to a contractors of works done or supplies made by him, duly measured and entered in the measurement book. This is affected when only a part of the whole work or the supply has been done, or and the work or the supply is in progress. During the progress of the work, the contractor is paid from time to time. Normally, interim release of the payment or the running payment is made to the contractors based on the completion of work. So for example, I already said, I have given an example that that is a road work, laying of earthwork excavation. That is, I have given one example of 100 to 200 meter cube of earthwork excavation. Then after that, placing the WBM, so first layer of asphalting, second layer of asphalting. If you see these all 4 stages, then the amount will be sanctioned based on the the part of work is completed. So release 25% if the excavation is completed. Release again 25% after laying the WBM. Release the third stage of 75% of the amount after completing the first layer of asphalting. Then give it final. It has to be recorded all these things in the running account bills, and the running account payment made to the contractors. Of course, the time bound has to be fixed, and it has systematic protocol is there. How it has to be given, what it should be given. Of course, if you say is that 25% of the work means it may not mean that only you have to reach the 25% of the amount. Maybe the 25% of the work itself is cost about the total estimated cost of the 50%. In that cases, it may not be correct that if you release only 25%, it may not true. Most of the time what will happen, even if you complete the 10% of the work, even if it is sharing or more than 50 to 60% of the work, so then normally we have to see it, then you have to release the amount. And then they have given in even if you see the PWD SR rates and all those things, they have given some of the systematic protocols to release the amount to the people. So maybe in the next class we will discuss the one more type of um, different types of payment made to the contractors. Thank you.